This is Khurram Hassan for my video on our evaluation of the Digital Scholar online course Collective Impact for Computer Science Education. I'm going to now respond to some questions that Ridha Satki from LSI shared with us, our team, on evaluating courses, basically a quality evaluation framework. So I'm going to start with, I've got my questions right here, so I'm going to look over here to just make sure I'm following some of the items we're looking at to examine the effectiveness of our course. Did we have, starting, we really wanted to start with outcomes. So in terms of intended outcomes, we did think about our outcomes. Ridha did a great job of using his training framework to help us outline those earlier. He asked me those questions, and we put that into our framework for the course. He also asked those in the videos that we presented, so people knew what the outcomes were going to be. He asked us to think through the rubric, and so I think we thought through what we wanted to get out of the course pretty well. I think he did a great job of that, and I think we responded with very clear outcomes that were relevant to the audience. In terms of overall design, was it effective in reaching our target group to reach their goals? I don't think we necessarily achieved that. I think we had the right concept, but I think we need to rethink the mechanisms by which we try to reach the target audience. Because we weren't able to reach everybody we wanted to. In terms of did the design allow us to automatically collect evidence on our progress? I think we did. I think this is where the Scholar framework, the platform for Scholar, allowed us to really capture a lot of the evidence. So kudos to Bill Cope and his team for continuing to help us, and they actually adjusted when we ran into issues. But they did a great job, and I think the platform captured evidence of our progress. And in terms of adapting the design based on feedback from users, we actually did that along the way. We were very responsive. Once again, the benefit of the platform and also our ability as a team. We had a pretty diverse team, and we were able to give suggestions on what might work better. Could it be used by others? Yeah, I think they can hire LSI, but they can also take the lessons, watch them, and come up with their own course. In terms of value for money, did we understand the benefits of our product or service to our target group and relative to other options? Yeah, I think clearly. I'm at a conference right now myself in Washington, D.C., and I got to tell you, it's a lot of money to bring all these people here to this place. I think they definitely could benefit from an unconferencing style where they turn it all upside down and turn it into a creative way for people to network with each other, showcasing ideas, maybe more workshop style, hands-on, versus a lot of lectures, a lot of presentations. The bulk of it is presentations. And people spend a lot of time getting ready for those when their time could be used better, thinking how to engage folks better, trying to understand from people what they want to get out of it. So I think clearly the online platform is a much better value. I think there are ways that we could, if we had more tools available to us, to help people use the online platform for learning. If we had more support, I think it could work even better. But clearly, it's a much better value for the funds being spent, and very competitive, much more competitive to face-to-face gatherings. In terms of other online platforms, I think that's where we would have to take a closer look at what we're comparing ourselves to. There are certainly some free courses available, but I think what sets Scholar apart and the model that they have developed with LSI as a partner is the fact that we are engaging people through live sessions. we're much more responsive. A lot of the online courses that are much cheaper or free are self-taught. You have to move along yourself. So we're somewhere in the middle where we are able to provide with a little bit more cost. You get a lot more responsiveness and get a lot more of that feel of being able to work directly with people versus just learning on your own, and that I think, and also with complex topics that require discussion. A lot of the free online courses don't really allow for that. In terms of evidence, the comprehensiveness of evidence, did we collect evidence using a range of methods? Yes, I think we had quantitative, qualitative. We had people self-assessing the course and activities, and then we were providing feedback. And in every one of the live sessions, Rida would provide provide feedback on what we've been hearing from everybody, so people could see the surveys and the qualitative responses. So it's both the quantitative and qualitative feedback. We were looping it back, which was critical and very important and helpful for people to be able to see that it's not the evaluation, the assessments weren't going into thin air. They were looped back in a thoughtful way by us, so they knew what we were doing. And then in terms of the quality of the evidence, did we feel it was unbiased, applicable to our products? Nothing is unbiased. So obviously we have a bias, and even if we're eager to be unbiased, we just don't know what we don't know. So that's why it was helpful to have the participants respond themselves. We had guest speakers. They provided us some feedback. So we had a variety of perspectives that we didn't have to necessarily control information. A lot of people had live access to providing information, and they did. So we didn't control all the way that evidence was collected. And in terms of applying the evidence, is the evidence stored and accessible to relevant people? Yes. It is available, once again, the benefit of the platform. And has the evidence we've collected been analyzed to help inform the design of our product? And this is part of that process, is that we're looking at that information, we're trying to think of the next steps. And so we're in that process right now, and this video is part of that process, is looking at our evidence and seeing how it could be helpful. In terms of planning and implementation, did we have a plan in terms of achieving our outcomes and milestones? Yes, we discussed that early on when Georgia DOE, who I represent as a consultant, and LSI, we outlined our plan very clearly. We had short-term and long-term priorities, and we identified some challenges we would run into. Rida had a perspective on the kinds of people that take these digital scholar courses. I knew the audience in terms of the collective impact topic and the limitations of the size of the audience. So Rida and LSI are used to having much larger numbers of course takers. I knew that we wouldn't have that many, and since we were grant funded, our priority was to make sure we get to the audience that our funder, the National Science Foundation, wanted to focus on, the launch pilots who were part of the NSF Includes funding. And I knew that wasn't a huge group, and I was satisfied with getting to quality of contacts versus number of contacts. And so we discussed that. It was still something we were figuring out. It was still concerning Rida that we didn't have as many numbers, but our numbers turned out to be better than we thought they would be, with the diversity of people that we ended up having in our course. And we did update our plan and made changes to be as relevant as possible. In terms of governance, did people within and outside our organization understand who's responsible for decision making? Yes, people understood clearly that Dr. Dooley, myself, Bill Cope, Rida, Juan were central to the decision-making process, and we were highlighting who people were and what they were up to in making decisions for the course. and we shared that with everybody. Everybody had access to that information. And did we update our plan based on progress and adapt it where necessary and communicate this with stakeholders? Yes. So constantly people were getting information, and the once again the benefit of having the platform, we didn't have to always push things out through email. We had, of course, social media as well, but we primarily were communicating through email and our videos, our live sessions, and the platform, the functionalities, the updates that were available in the community space, etc., allowed us to be always be providing updates to people in a live methodology. So in terms of capacity to deliver, did we try to look at our internal capacity and culture? Did we have the right number of people and the people with the right skills? I think we did. I think we would benefit, though, in having more support on the platform side, and on the digital scholar side, the course managers, LSI, Geneva Learning Foundation side, and we on the on my side, on our side of the folks who were designing some of the content, I think it would have been helpful to have more expertise around collective impact, and as well as computer science. I think we could have also benefited if having additional knowledge available on our teams to inform the participants, to design the course. I think clearly we did very well with who we had on board, but I think we could have benefited having more expertise on our teams and more support on the platform side. And there was a lot of support within our organization and excitement amongst our leadership. In terms of user capacity and culture, do the target group understand the objectives and the roles? I think we struggled there, quite frankly. I think folks really struggled. They hadn't really taken a course like this before. And the topic is relatively new in terms of collective impact. So I don't think the target group completely understood what they were taking. Does the product service reflect the user's skill set and available resources? In some cases, yes. In some cases, people didn't really understand the platform. Over time, the feedback got more and more positive about the platform, because obviously the more you use a tool, the better you get at it. And people who persisted obviously were people who were willing to spend the time to figure out any tool, including the Digital Scholar platform. And in terms of people being able to assess if this is the right course for them, I think we could have done a better job of allowing people to self-assess if this course is right for them. So we could do some kind of checklist or some kind of self-assessment to allow, instead of just saying what this course is for, who this course is for, what this is about. I think it may be useful for people to have some kind of checklist. In terms of stakeholder relationships, have we identified who our key stakeholders are, and did we understand their needs and concerns? I think we did a pretty good job there. It was about the launch pilots. It was about people in this computer science and collective impact space. And do we communicate regularly with them? During the course, we did communicate regularly with them. So I think we did a pretty good job of stakeholder relationships. So I think those were some of the questions that were posed to me using the quality evaluation framework, learning quality evaluation framework. And those were very helpful in helping me think about how we did. So I think we did a great job given what we did know at the time of what people would want and what networks we could use to engage people. But I think we learned how we could do a much better job. There's still a big demand for this information, these learning opportunities. There's a real hunger here in the U.S. and across the world. And learning about how to expand computer science education opportunities, that those are some of the best opportunities for young people to make a living, to find their passion. And we hope to come back with additional offerings. We're going to engage supporters, funders, sponsors, and see if they're interested in helping us provide additional courses in the future. Stay tuned.